I get a lot of comments on my TikToks and videos. People always ask, where do you get your lightsabers? How do you do this? Can you do a tutorial? There's a lot to explain, so listen close and listen well, because I'm only doing this once. Welcome to Lightsabers Explained. Welcome to episode 1 of Lightsabers Explained. This episode is all about figuring out what hilt would be best for you and understanding just the 5 factors of buying a lightsaber. So, let's get to it. First off, we gotta talk about what you want to do with your lightsaber. So what's the main reason you're buying a lightsaber? Do you want to use your lightsaber for spinning or filming with, or maybe combat, or cosplay, or maybe even display? All of these would involve different factors to address considering what you want to do. For example, if you want to use a saber for combat, you want to have it where the blade is durable enough to withstand heavy attacks and hits. You don't use it for spinning, you'd want one that's durable enough to just drop on the floor every now and then, but still won't be totally destroyed where you can't use it again. Also, if you want combat, you probably want a fairly decently cheap one. So you don't, like, if you do break it, you don't need to worry about wasting a large amount of money. So it's just addressing those factors. So we'll start off explaining what you would do if you want to use a saber for spinning or combat. So, if you want to use any kind of spinning lightsaber, like it's lightweight and durable enough to withstand some kind of heavy force or brute attacks or something like that, I would recommend a baselet hilt. Now, because it's daytime right now, the saber won't appear that well on camera. But this is just to show that this is what a baselet hilt would look like. Just a pretty simple hilt design, but a baselet hilt is all about a blade that is screwed in right here to stay in place no matter how fast you go. And then, see if I can show it. It lights up. It has good swing. It's durable. It can take a hit. And if I dropped it, that hurt me, but yes, see, it's durable. It's still on. No issues. And also, it's great if you want to have the sound off. Maybe you want to add sound effects over it. All you do, press and hold the button. 1 second. 1.
Softer sound.
So that's a softer sound, so it's not nearly as loud anymore. You can hear that. I keep pushing the button on accident. And if you want to mute it,
No sound.
right there. See, it's on and it's silent. And I can just do whatever with it. Like that. So these can take a hit, they're very durable, and they're also very affordable. So these sabers, since they are actual metal, except for the blade being like a PVC pipe that's durable, you can get a mid-grade, which is strong, but not nearly like strong enough to withstand like super heavy blows. Then there's the heavy grade, which is actually strong enough to take a beating against a tree. So you can hard as you can on a tree, and the blade will be fine. That's a heavy grade. It's just, considering it's a heavy grade, it's heavier to hold. Mid grade is perfect to wield because of the lightweight and stuff like that. This is actually a 24-inch blade. You can get a blade that's much longer than this. I just prefer the shorter blade because it's easier to spin whenever you're doing, like, I don't know, cartwheels or other acrobatic tricks and stuff like that. This is what I use mostly on TikTok. Baselet hilts usually will come with a color change effect. So if you don't like, maybe you don't like blue, you want to do this. 1, 2, hold the button. As you can see, it is changing colors now to like a darker blue, a lighter blue. See what it does next? Is a white. It's a little difficult to see, but I'm trying the best I can. Like, there you go, purple to pink to red. So yeah, it does change color. And once I have the color I want, just push the button, and it's set. Just like that. And if you enjoy sound effects to your lightsabers, these also do have just a bunch of different sound effects. So if I turn the sound back on,
Loud sound.
and then press and hold the button,
I've been waiting for this stayed for a long time.
Kylo is one of the sound fonts. Push a button. There you go, different sound effect. I'm just pushing the button, that's all. So yeah, basically, check this out. Push the button. So the Saber has blaster deflection, so you can activate its flash sequence. Stuff like that. Now, the one thing I will say, these sabers can be sensitive to certain speeds. So if you were to spin really fast, these would flash like crazy, thinking that it's registering as a hit. So for example, let me show you if I go like a decent speed. See that? That was the flash and clash, like activating a ton of times. You can get a saber that doesn't do that. I'll talk about that in a minute, but that's what it does just if you go at insane speeds. So if you want to do this just for slow flow and practice, you can definitely use it for that. If you want to go more rapid speeds, you can. It's just you're gonna deal with that. If you're willing and you just want to mess around and have fun, go for it. It's really fun. I do enjoy it. I'm sure you would too. Also, these sabers, I do use these in combat actually. So these are able to withstand attacks. Pretty decent, like, let me just show you. So it's gonna get a few scuffs on it and stuff like that, but you can just literally just wipe those off. Nothing too crazy about it. And then perfectly fine. So they can take attacks, but you don't want to hit it against a corner like that. You're going to hit against another blade. You know, round surface against a round surface means no dents, no scuffs, no cracks. Maybe a few scuffs, but like rarely, honestly. If you want to use it for combat or spinning, I'd recommend a baselet. Cheap, affordable most of the time, depending on what you get. This is a saber from Crimson Dawn. The O-rings are not attached to it. I actually just added those for a better grip to spin. And this is $95 on their website. And their hilts usually go for 85 or maybe even 70 to up to 120. Now the 120 hilts are like the more detailed, cooler looking, stuff like that. Which is fun, but if you want to get a hilt that's just for combat and not showing off and flaunting like a cool design, get the cheaper version of it. And if you don't care about the hilt design whatsoever and just want a lightsaber, Crimson Dawn actually has actually a few companies do this, but they do a mystery box. So you can choose to pay $10 less, so it'd be like $70 for just a mystery box of a random baselet, and they'll send you whatever saber they choose at random. There's a chance of it being a really good one or a really cheap one, or worth more than you actually pay for. So there's that gamble to it, but it's also like you're getting a hilt for cheaper regardless, and it's just like you just don't get to choose what you get. But all the effects and electronics all are still in the hilt. Doesn't matter. It's just you don't choose the hilt, and then you save money. So it's like if you want a specific design, you're gonna pay fair price for it. On a mystery box, do that. Now, these are also great for cosplays, obviously. Like, there's nothing wrong with them at all. No issues. You can carry them around. If you get a smaller blade to walk around with, or just cut the blade, whatever you get. Because you can't cut these, don't worry. Like, you can just cut the filament and everything, and then have it as is. You can walk around with this as a cosplay if you want to just keep your saber out of it all the time. Actually, these, the battery life in these sabers usually go for a solid 5 hours, but it depends on which company you buy for. Mine, last 5 hours. I don't ask how I know this. I'm outside a lot. But yeah, they last a pretty long time. So if you're going to like a con or something like that, or WonderCon, Comic-Con, whatever you name it, any of those, and you're walking around with a cosplay as a Jedi or a Sith or something like that, or a Mandalorian with a lightsaber, that'd be actually pretty sick. but these are good. These are good to carry around, 100%. They're light. You can spin them. If somebody challenges you to a duel, they won't break, don't worry. You'll have no issue with that. But you can also always just carry around like a plastic hilt, because if you want to just keep it on your side and have it look like a cool looking lightsaber with the blade just flicking out, you can do that too. I definitely would recommend these for cosplay, combat, and spinning. Display also, but like, I think you'd probably want something that's actually more of a eyepiece, you know? So, let's talk about a Neopixel. This is a Neopixel. Looks kind of like a bracelet, right? Well, Neopixels have a little special feature to them. Basically, there is a strip blade, or strip blades in this blade with a foam tube straight through it, which gives it this effect. Might be a little difficult to see, but as you can see, a Neopixel is light all the way through with different effects to it because it can do that. If you're wondering what the sound font is from, this is the Assassin from Grayscale Fonts. I'll leave a link to their website in the description. We'll talk about sound fonts in another episode, and I have a special guest that'll help explain everything that we want to know. Anyway, a Neopixel is a lightsaber that has, well, for one, a string light through it that allows it to have that realistic saber activation effect instead of just igniting like a flashlight kind of look. But these are expensive. These can be very pricey. So, a Neopixel can go for around 200 to 500, depending on what you get for your hilt variation, or it can go even higher than that to maybe up to even $2,000, depending on what you want installed and what hilt you choose and the company you purchase from. It's extremely heavy, for one. Like, it's not, if you spin it, it's gonna like, you need to be able to balance yourself with it because it will carry your body. You probably don't want that because you're supposed to be in control of the saber. If you swing like this, the saber is gonna control you. You're gonna be like a character from the Book of Boba Fett. How about that? That's a way of saying it. Anyway, yeah, Neopixels, metal, have you still screw in the blade so they won't go flying out of nowhere, but these can be used for combat. I would not recommend it though, considering they can be expensive for one, and as cool as they look, it's really scary to use them just because of the blade being all that's protecting the electronics in this. And a Neopixel blade in itself will go for $80. Just the blade. The hilt will be fairly pricey sometimes, but it's usually the electronics that make it that pricey. The metal parts, you can probably just buy off some other saber company for like 20 bucks a piece. No joke. Could be even cheaper than that. But yeah, these can do pretty much anything. Check this out.
Don't know the power of the dark side.
Okay, well, this is Vader, and this is a great example to show that Neopixels change color, and if you saw, you can program how the ignition is. So that was pretty quick, right? Watch how it ignites slowly. See that? Slower. It's got a much nicer smooth swing. Neopixels can be programmed to do pretty much anything. You can program a blade effect. You can make it have some kind of special ignition or preon or something like that. You can make it a rainbow. This actually does have a rainbow blade on it. This can be an unstable blade. Just know they're heavy. Let me actually show an unstable. See if I can find one real quick. Neopixels.
The dark saber.
This is a dark saber. They actually have a lot of sound fonts to them most of the time. Usually there's up to at least 20 or more of just different custom or already installed sound fonts on every kit. So if you get a Neopixel from Crimson Dawn, you're guaranteed to have a certain number of sound fonts, as well as pre-designated sound fonts that are no different on any other hilt that they sell. What you can do is you can actually buy sound fonts from different Saber or sound font creators, such as Darth Phoenix, Kyberphonic, K-Sith, Jadalorian, or Grayscale. And there's quite a few more. I just forgot them. You can just buy sound fonts from them and install them on your Neopixel right then and there. And then you'll have a different sound font. So, let me see, what's this one? Oh, the Darksaber. That's actually an unstable effect. You see how it's like doing that flicker? That's what an unstable effect looks like. And when you spin it, I don't know if you can see it that well, but you can see it when I hold it. It has that effect. A baseless saber can't really do that. The thing that they would do is they'd make the light flicker rapidly. That's how they do it. So, a Neopixel, not good for combat, can be used for spinning. It's kind of scary though, but it does look really cool in videos. Combat, I do not recommend because, one, these are fairly expensive, and if you want to duel with these and you actually do damage a light inside, that's going to cost quite a bit to replace, because now the blade will not light up in that section, no matter what you do, unless you can take out the blade, take out all the electronics, and reinstall a new light all by yourself. You don't have much to do. You can't, like, one segment's just not going to light up and it's stuck like that. If you're okay with that, go for it. But I don't want to risk ruining and damaging an expensive lightsaber like a Neopixel. If you want to use it for cosplay, you can do that. You can definitely do that if it's an indoor room or whatever where it's dimly lit, or just indoors. These actually appear much better indoors than outside. Neopixels, they're bright. You can tell. They appear super well during the daytime. Just like you can even see it. It's white, and you can even see it like a little brighter. If you want to use it for filming, go for it. But combat, it's just really scary to use, because it's just, you break it and you spend a large amount of money for it. You can't really replace the hilt. But if you break the blade, you can replace the blade, but like, you have to just replace something, otherwise it's just not gonna work. If the hilt breaks because of the blade causing some in the electronics, it's just not gonna work anymore, and there's nothing you can do. That's why combat with these sabers it's pretty scary. So I would recommend getting a Neopixel for just display, or if you want to mess around with it a little bit and spin it. Now, they're heavy. You need to be aware of that, because let me just show you. If I have my saber out like this and I just let it go a little bit, watch it just tilt my hand. Like, if I try to lift it up like this is a lot of weight on my hands to bring up, which is what makes the Neopixel that like heavy. And it's probably because of the blade, because the blade is probably the weight of the hilt itself, maybe even doubled. It's like holding another hilt on this side and just supporting it like this. It's probably because of the blade followed by the electronics inside as well as the foam. So that's what makes these fairly heavy. In all honesty, it's a great workout if you are planning on spinning it. But display, the Neopixel Sabers can be the coolest things to display when you like hang them on a wall, or you choose some like really high-end looking hilt itself, and then the blade has a Neopixel effect. That's a display piece right there for sure. So that's a Neopixel. It's everything that you would want in a lightsaber, just very scary to use because of how pricey it is. Everything has a con. Now, if you just want a lightsaber that doesn't have any electronics inside. It just looks like a really cool lightsaber hilt, and you can just have some kind of lid onto it, or like cap that makes it look like the blade just isn't ignited yet, but it looks like a real lightsaber. Then I would recommend an empty hilt. I don't really have an empty hilt on me because all of my sabers are installed and I don't want to take out the electronics anytime soon. But an empty hilt is basically exactly what it sounds like. It's a lightsaber hilt without the electronics. No blade, no, you can have a blade if you want to, but it's really just an empty, like, hilt. Like, there's no, it's just a hollow cylinder with a really cool design on the outside, or just maybe a simple lightsaber, something like that. If you want to get an empty hilt, it's much cheaper if you're just going to display it because you're saving money and you get a really cool display piece. It just looks really cool. Empty hilts, you save money, and you can buy an empty hilt if you want to custom install it with another electronic kit. So for example, a good company that does empty hilts could be SaberForge. SaberForge is the first company that comes off the top of my head that sells empty hilts. Why? Because, well, if you go to SaberForge's website, I'll just pull it up right here, you'll see that all the hilts that they show, just, look at those prices, they look great. That's actually pretty good for an installed hilt. Actually, no. Those prices that you see on all the SaberForge hilts are the empty hilt prices. So, if you click a hilt, like for example, let's do, that one. That's a nice one. Anyway, this hilt, like just scroll down, you'll see there's a little install thing right here. That means you can choose how you want the electronics to be. So, if you want it empty, then you're paying the price that you see right and the front. If you want it with a light, you're gonna see, ooh, that looks a little expensive, but you're gonna see that you can install a light. That's like, cool. Or you want to have maybe some sound fonts in it. Go down, yikes, it's okay, getting a little worse, and then you want to do, you want some special sound fonts with like a golden harvest board. All right, let's go to the champion tier. Ooh, okay. And also, let's check out the hero tier, because that is the only one which allows you to get a Neopixel, but not only a Neopixel, but also color-changing blades. That's right, every other Saber tier is no color change. Only the hero tier. And let's see that price. So yeah, I would recommend SaberForge for empty hilts, because you can just buy another kit or some other, pay somebody else to install a kit for you. You can do that on Etsy. But yeah, you just see, they have such cool designs. Just, God, I don't want to spend that much for a hilt that doesn't even change color. Thank you, bye-bye. Okay, so, that's what I would definitely recommend. That is basically an empty hilt. I can't say too much about having an empty hilt for display. Not because it's kind of boring, but like, it's kind of boring. Now, buying a saber from any company usually involves a bit of patience. So, for example, if you want to get a lightsaber or an empty hilt from SaberForge, and you're like, I want to install it with some other kit from somebody else, SaberForge takes quite a while to ship. So, I don't have it on me right now, but I ordered a hilt a while back called the Commando. You know what, just pull it out. It's pretty sick, right? I was just like, dang, that looks like a Darksaber. Honestly, it's really nice. It also has a hero tier, so that was $500. Anyway, yeah, it's a nice hilt. SaberForge hilts are kind of sharp for one, and for two, that's three. For two, it took half a year to arrive. So, yeah, if you want to order from SaberForge, you better have quite a bit of patience. Also, if you wanted to buy from, say you wanted a baselit hilt from Crimson Dawn. Crimson Dawn takes 5 days to ship, and you have your saber, just like that. Really quick, compared to 6 months. 5 days. So if you want to get a saber from Crimson Dawn, and you like, oh, I want to get the graph legs from them. That looks really cool. Look up reviews of that hilt or Crimson Dawn in general to see like what you can expect, and then read the description on everything, what the lengths and dimensions of the hilt are, understand the materials used, all kinds of stuff like that. Do that, figure out everything. If it matches everything you want and you're just like, great, I love this, I'd say go ahead and make the purchase. But remember, I got some factors to explain. First factor would be understanding comfort. Comfort would be, does this hilt look comfortable to hold? Is it comfortable to spin? Will it hurt me at all? That goes into another factor called safety. So comfort and safety, they do kind of tie with each other, but it's all about just, is it safe to wield? Is it safe to spin? Is it comfortable to hold? Is it comfortable to do whatever without having any discomfort whatsoever? That's 1, 2 factors, whatever. Second or third factor, whatever you want to classify it as, would be looks. Looks, it's a pretty small one, but you want a saber that looks cool to you, or it's just like, it looks cool in general. Like, it just, does it look good? That's all that factor really is. Next one would definitely be considering the brightness of the saber. So is it bright in the daytime, or is it brighter at night? Take a look at this right now. It's gotten a bit brighter compared to how it was before. It's a very comfortable hilt to spin. I feel no discomfort whatsoever. I feel no pain. It's just fairly heavy. Next factor would be considering weight and length. So, is your hilt the proper weight? That you'll probably have to test when you actually receive a hilt, or you can see if the Saber company actually explains the weight of the hilt and all the dimensions and stuff like that. Length, though, is an important one to understand, because you need to figure out the length of the hilt itself and then the blade that you're receiving. So, for example, this is a 36-inch blade, for one. It's, actually, it might be 32. No, it's 32. Sorry. This blade, it's pretty long, but still, like, perfect for me, because I know the length of my hilt is under a foot, but it's still great. It's a two-handed hilt for sure, but you can definitely use one hand for it. You can use whatever hands you want for whatever hilts. Honestly, any hilt can be a two-handed hilt. It's just, where can you actually grip to hold your saber? Like, is it best for one? Is it best for two? That doesn't matter right now. What I'm addressing is length, because the length of your saber is how you know if you can spin it and duel with it and work with it or not. So for example, if you want to stand there and spin your saber, you need to know how long it's going to be away from you. So if you wanted it to like go closest to you without it touching the ground, would you have to raise your arm up at all? Or how far do you keep it where your arm is just straight? Because this is how you know if you're going to be able to spin it or not without any issue or discomfort. Why? It's say you're, I'm 5'9", all right? So say you're just 5 feet tall or something like that. A blade that is 36 inches would be way too long for you. Why? Probably because it would, if you'd have to hold it to keep it from touching the ground, you'd have to hold it like this or this, like way out away from you so it doesn't actually touch the ground. Meaning, if you try to spin it, you need to be able to raise your arms high enough to spin it where you won't have any issue of hitting the ground and breaking your blade. If you have it short enough, you can keep your blade lower without worrying about hitting the ground. Get what I'm saying? So length is a pretty important thing to address. If you know that it's the proper length for you and it doesn't cause any issue for you, then then you're good. Good way of addressing if it is the proper height is if it's up to your waist or not. That's only able to be tested if you actually have the hilt with you, or you do the math. Take the length of a blade that you're getting with the saber, subtract maybe an inch or two from it because it takes out an inch or two to get the blade actually inside the hilt, and then adjust the length of the hilt, add the two together, and then figure out that in inches, feet, or centimeters, whatever you want to use, and then use that to measure the height of how it'll actually be by your side. You can do that too, but that is a pretty important feature to address. Number one feature, in my opinion, would be accessibility. Accessibility is what your saber or electronics in your saber have to offer. So, if you have a saber, you want to know exactly what it can do and if it'll suit your needs. So, for example, if you want to spin a lightsaber which changes color, that's part of the accessibility. Can you change the color? Can you change the sound font? Can you adjust the sensitivity? Can you change the brightness? Can you adjust the volume? Can you mute it? All of that is a part of accessibility. And also, it's how easy it is to do these things. Every saber will give you a manual on how to do it. Sometimes it's easy to memorize, other times you're going to need that manual on you at all times because it has maybe too many features or too little features, and you need to figure out how to actually do these things. Because every saber, if it has one button to do all these things, it needs to have different commands programmed into it to do these things. So if you want to change the color, you'd have to hold the button down for 2 seconds, which the button will flash 2 times. You want to change the sound font, just hold it down until the sound font changes. That's pretty much it for that. You want to change colors, you need to have the blade on and then press and hold the button for 2 seconds. So there's all these different ways to do it, and they're all programmed into the saber, and you need to it's just figure out how to do it and how easy it is to truly actually do. So that's a big part of using your lightsaber. If you want to change colors, you need to know how to change colors of the blade, or you want to know how to change sound fonts or mute the saber. There's all these features to it, and it's just addressing what actually the saber can do, which is what a lot of the research is addressing. And research is a big part of buying a saber. When you buy a product, you want to know that you're getting exactly what you're paying for, because nobody wants to buy a saber that has, or any product in general, that they don't know exactly what they're paying for one, or they get the product expecting something and then not looking into it where it really says exactly what it's supposed to be. They don't read into it and it doesn't have what they want and they just wasted their money. So that's a really big part, which is why I'm going to go over the 5 factors again, just on this side right here. Comfort and safety, brightness, looks, accessibility, and of course weight and length. All of these you definitely want to look into to just understand exactly what you're paying for. Anyway, yeah, this has been quite a bit of information to probably get your head around. You can, if you have any other questions about anything else, feel free to leave it in the comments down below. And if you liked what you saw and would like to see more, and you're looking forward to the 2nd episode of Lightsabers Explained, leave a like down below and consider subscribing. You don't have to, but all is greatly appreciated regardless. And yeah, I really just hope that this helps you out as much as it could, because this is all for you guys. And I just hope that you enjoyed this. This has been episode 1 of Lightsabers Explained. My name is Poor Excuse for a Jedi. Be on the lookout for episode 2 for your next lesson. May the Force be with you. This has been Lightsabers Explained. See you next time.